I'm Adam Webster. I own a company out of Phoenix, Arizona called Rocky Mountain Restoration. Been in business for going on 13 years and been a More Floods member for probably, I lose track, but probably like 7, 8 years or something now. We've been on More Floods member, maybe longer, but we've been with More Floods for quite some time. So like I said, I started this business in 2009, and at the time I had a business partner. We were 50-50 in the business and didn't really know what we were doing, right? Just kind of two young guys, just got going, starting, doing running flood calls and, doing the thing, and started out in my garage. And from there, quickly kind of grew the company and started developing the company. And we engaged More Floods, reached out to them and engaged them, like I said, about 8 years ago or so now. And for us, we had an idea of what we wanted to do, but it wasn't until we got to More Floods and saw Power Dry and how they operated that we could really see what a well-run and finely tuned machine looks like, right? And I think other members have experienced the same, but for me, it was very eye-opening. I remember that first visit, being out there, seeing how it all worked and seeing it unfold, and being, in the middle of just an impressive organization that they have over there. And I think what's unique about my story maybe is that for me, we came out 8 years ago, whatever, took a lot from the program, started implementing it, but we didn't really fully implement it, right? Like, we took the parts we liked, implemented, and there's other parts we said, it's not really for us or whatever. And what happened is probably, honestly, it was probably 4 or 5 years in that we realized that I had that awakening that I really needed to double down on the More Flood strategies, operationally and marketing, and really take it on like fully, right? Like, instead of picking and choosing, the way I assess it is I was being prideful, right? I needed to humble myself and go, okay, I need to listen to these guys. I need to do what they're telling me to do. And when we started doing that, and more fully implementing the program, we really started to see the benefits of it. And we really started to see how we were streamlining our processes, delivering a higher quality product. It got easier to run the business. It was more efficient, more organized. And so for me, I think what's unique in my story is it kind of came in 2 waves, right? Like, we had the initial, this is cool, let's try to implement some of the stuff. And then it was until the second wave, years later, that I said, okay, we really need to implement this stuff. And having done that, I think for me was, really humbling myself, taking it on. It was a really, really smart decision, and has really helped us to continue to grow the business and organize it in a way that's really scalable. Yeah, for me, and maybe what's somewhat unique to my situation again is that, we're in the Phoenix market, and as the guys at More Floods will tell you, it's one of the most competitive markets in the country, right? Like, we've got a lot of competition out here. I think in a market like mine, it's even more critical to be really fully implementing the More Floods philosophies and systems into the business. And what I mean by that is they really focus in on the service component and being the best there is service-wise, right? Like, and in a really, really competitive market, that's how you're going to win, because everyone else is throwing cash around. Everyone else is doing all the shady deals that you don't want to, you're not willing to do, right? Like, and so there's a lot of really competitive elements where we are, and where we win accounts is because we have consistent and professional delivery of our services, and our professionalism isn't matched in the market. And I can really honestly give the credit back to More Floods for their example through how they run Power Dry and how I've been able to witness them, that we've been able to adopt that similar standard, right, of tape down cords and technicians wearing booties and really clean equipment and clean job sites and all that professionals and they put into their work product, right? Like, by us adopting that standard, we've been able to compete and continue to grow our company in one of the most competitive markets in the country. The More Flood systems allow you to basically fast forward 10 years of pain and mistakes that everyone else has made and just get a really clean strategy for success. And so More Floods for me it's just that. It's really a solution to all the pains and troubles and growth, challenges you experience running a business. And if you want to do, restoration and do water damage primarily, right? Like, these guys have figured it out. They've gone through the pain and the trial and error, and they develop their offers in such a way that really you can fast forward your business probably, I'd say, 10 years and get past all those mistakes that all those business owners have made and really adopt a solid strategy and a solid program for running a flood company. I think before I really committed to the More Floods program, and even after, like I said, I started the program. I wasn't, honestly fully in it, so to speak. I took parts I liked, but wasn't fully implementing it. What I noticed before we really adopted the More Floods program really was that we were a few different things. We were too broad. We were trying to take care of too many different customers. Does that make sense? Like we're trying to go after all this commercial work and trying to take care of adjusters. We went so broad with our customer base. We really didn't do a good job of taking care of any one, right? And so that was one thing. And then also we just were sloppy with our we weren't managing our expenses, or we weren't managing our labor very tightly, right? Like our guys were, we were getting the job done, but it wasn't very efficient, wasn't very organized. And when high volume, days would hit, right? We get a lot of work in. It was like everyone was scrambling. There really wasn't an effective strategy to take that on because we weren't streamlined. We didn't have our roles clearly defined and have the missions defined for each of our people on the team like we do now and how More Floods, So really adopting the More Floods program, I think for me, what it came down to is one, getting really clear on that I am a water damage company and I'm going to focus on being the best at that I possibly can, and really narrowed our customer base down to really taking care of plumbers and agents, being our focus, and More Floods has, I think, the most proven programs around those two specifically, but really adopting those as a business and going really narrow with our customer focus. And then really getting our operations streamlined, like for example, there's one thing that we, the flex tech, the idea of having a flex tech. Well, I always heard it and never did anything with it. It wasn't until, like I said, that doubled down, that kind of reawakening, if you will, that recommitment, that I said, we need to look at that role again. And by implementing that flex tech, as they call it, that was a game changer for us. And this is one example, but I mean, there was other examples I can think of too, in terms of, better training, right? Really pushing the specialty equipment and really training our guys to get that, because we let our guys be a little bit too loose sometimes, right? But we really had to train and really hold them to a higher standard. And so operationally really focusing in on what we needed to do to really achieve that More Flood status, right? And that came through the recommitment of really seriously looking at where the gaps were and what we're doing today to where we need to be. And like I said, it was really just adopting that More Floods model. So the More Floods in-person trainings, and they have a few different ones they've done. I know the general training, for example, is one that I really try to get as many people as I can. That makes sense on the team, right? So we make sure to have all of our leadership team go through those trainings. We have key people, we have supervisors, and some of our business development people will go through those trainings as well. And that's just the general training. And then there's also like the marketing rep trainings they do, and we'll have our marketing people do those as well. So I mean, what I have found is that I can go to the training, I can take notes, and I can bring it back to my team and explain it to them what we're doing, right? Like, and what I've seen out there and how great Kansas City was and how great this company is. But it's a whole nother experience for the employee to go out there and really walk into their shop and see how clean it is, right? Like, and to see how professional everything is and really get a sense of what it looks like. So for me, there's a whole experience that's lacking if you don't send your people to the training. And I think it's a huge mistake not to. I mean, they make it available. There's lots of trainings available. Get your team out, pay for the flights, do the thing. You're going to get a huge return on that investment just by them seeing what a real flood company looks like, right? Because I think all of your team members, probably all the team members from More Floods companies, probably have a sense of pride in their company, right? They probably think they're doing things really great. And when they go in and see a company like that, it really awakens them to what's possible and what you could create with your company. And so I don't know, every time I send someone out there, they come back lit up and really excited, and they come back with ideas, and they remind me of things that I could be doing better here and things that I forgot about. And it's like I said, there's a huge return from sending people to in-person trainings for sure. If they are serious about growing their water damage business, or they're serious about optimizing their efficiencies and organization of their water damage business. And I think that More Floods is a great fit for someone that's really humble, that's willing to listen. Like, I wasn't as humble as I was the first time around, as when I recommitted and really took it on and really adopted what they were bringing forth in their systems. But so again, it's someone that's humble and serious about growing their business. If you're not going to listen to anyone else, if you think you have it all figured out, More Floods isn't for you, right? If you're humble and you want to learn the best systems in the industry, More Floods is a good fit. What I really appreciate about More Floods, honestly, I think when I first joined, what I really appreciated most was just the systems, the manuals, the clamshells, as they used to call them, right? Like you had all this information you'd get, and you're like, oh man, this is gold. And you just want to run back and implement all the systems in your business. And that's fantastic. And then what I found is that once I, continually was implementing and doing all that, what really, the value for me shifted from this information and the tools they had, which is always very valuable. But really, I found that the network was so valuable with More Floods. And I think that's one thing that I would say that a lot of members forget, right? Is how powerful that network is, and going to the events and going to the trainings and building connections within the industry. I can say that's where I've made, that's really helped me to grow and develop my business, honestly, is looking to other members in this network and learning from them. So what's really powerful about More Floods is the network of people you get connected with, and there's the wealth of knowledge that is available through the people in the network. When I think of the More Floods team, what I think of is just people that are really honestly just fun. They're passionate about what they do and they really care, and these guys also, I'll say this, are they're continual learners. They are always updating, changing, developing. They're never done, and so I think the way that the More Floods team, honestly, they have a great culture and a great sense about who they are. I think they're a great example of how, the rest of us could be, in our leadership teams, in terms, I think, of I would call them core values that they embody and the way that they are, being fun, compassionate, caring, serious, always learning. I mean, those are honestly core values that I see in them, but also core values that we share within our company.